Hi, welcome to the ACL Decoding Special Education series, where we take one topic, 5 slides, and 5 minutes or less to explain some piece of the special education progress. Today, we're going to talk about progress monitoring and what the requirements and expectations. Progress monitoring is a legally required component under federal law, IDEA, that states that students with an IEP who have annual goals must have a way to monitor their progress on their goals, and states how and when families will be notified and communicated about that progress. This is really, how do you know your kid is growing? How is the school able to show their accountability that they are doing what they said and that the student is making progress? In order to do this, we need to have a baseline measurement so that there's a starting place of how much growth they're going to have. There's an example at the bottom of this slide as an example of a goal. This information comes out of the present level section of the IEP, which is early in the IEP, where we're identifying the student's needs and where the gaps may be in relation to their peers, so that we're setting up goals. And this is also where the school team, and you're included in that, is looking at the need for specialized instruction, for accommodations, for a very small number of students, modifications, and other types of support, such as speech and language therapists or occupational therapy, and school psychologists or social worker for some mental health and social emotional needs. These goals need to be easily understood to anyone reading them. They do not have to be trained in IEPs to understand them. We want to see that they are SMART, which is an acronym, and we have another module that lays out exactly what a SMART goal is, but it's a way of identifying through percentages and clear measurements what kinds of growth we expect to see in a year's time for a student. When you get the progress report, IDEA only states, and this is what most school districts do, it has to be at least as often as general education report cards. So most districts who work on semesters, that'll be twice a year when report cards go out, and your student should receive a report card if that's as well. And then during the annual IEP meeting, you should have another progress report that is up to date for that time of the year. Sometimes these things coincide, sometimes they don't. That is the requirement. That is all that is legally expected. There are teachers that do more than that, and they can do it, but it is asking more of them than is required. So for some teachers, they will do back and forth logs, weekly check-ins, scheduled phone calls. Typically, these are students who have more significant support needs and aren't able to articulate everything that they're doing in their school day. Parents should be able to understand what the progress report is saying. It shouldn't be in kind of education ease. And you should also be able to know, do I agree with this or not? And if you don't, have your own information to bring in case it does not coincide with what the team says their progress has been made. Some careful things to watch out for is sometimes progress reports have more of a statement that's an opinion that's not based on data. That can be grades too, which are subjective and not an objective measure of growth. They can be written too vaguely. That's why we want to see a SMART goal without defining the skill. And they need to have that baseline data so we know that we're starting from. If you do not understand or do not agree, the best question is, can you show me how you know that? So hopefully that gets you a little more prepared for understanding and reading your child's progress monitoring. Thanks.